I came home after 10 years to find my grandmother's house under attack. The HOA president screamed I stole the land I inherited. She'd filed fake documents saying I didn't exist. 15 days to pay taxes or lose everything. But payment was frozen. Grandma left me one weapon, the truth. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. 10 years. That's how long I'd been gone from Colorado, building my software engineering career in Seattle. 10 years since I'd walked through Grandma Rose's front door, sat at her kitchen table, or heard her laugh echo through that old house. The voicemail from Mr. Harper, our family lawyer, came at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. Daniel, it's urgent. There are serious complications with Rose's estate. You need to come back immediately. Call me as soon as you get this. My hands shook as I listened to it 3 times. Complications? Grandma Rose had been sharp as a knife until her heart gave out 6 months ago. Her will was simple, everything to me, her only grandchild. What could possibly be complicated? I called him back at 6 a.m. Seattle time. Daniel. His voice sounded strained, almost frightened. You need to get on a plane today. Don't wait. There's a woman claiming ownership of Rose's property. She's filed legal documents saying no legitimate heir exists. My stomach dropped. What? I'm her grandson. I'm her only living relative. I know. But she's created a legal trap. Property taxes are 15 days overdue, $7,800. She filed an ownership dispute, so the county froze payment processing. You can't pay even if you have the money until the dispute is resolved. And resolving it takes longer than 15 days. I sat down hard on my apartment floor. Who is she? Martha Reynolds. She's your grandmother's neighbor. HOA president. Claims she's been maintaining the property for 3 years under a caretaker agreement. Daniel, I need to tell you something else. We can't discuss this on the phone. Just come home. And whatever you do, don't show anyone what Rose left you. Especially not Martha. The line went dead. The flight felt endless. By the time I pulled my rental car into Grandma Rose's driveway, the Colorado sun was setting behind the mountains, painting everything gold and purple. The house looked exactly the same. Same cream siding. Same black shutters. Same brick walkway. Rose had laid herself back in 1995. But something felt wrong. The garden was perfect. Too perfect. Fresh mulch. Trimmed hedges. Not a weed in sight. Someone had been here. Recently. Often. I used the key Mr. Harper had mailed me and stepped inside. The smell hit me first. Lavender sachets and old books. Pure Grandma Rose. Everything was exactly where I remembered. The floral couch. Photos on the mantel. The kitchen table where she taught me to play poker. But there was dust everywhere. Thick dust on every surface. If someone had been maintaining this property, they hadn't been cleaning inside. That's when I saw the envelope on the counter. Urgent, written in Mr. Harper's handwriting. Inside was a property tax notice stamped in angry red letters. Final notice, 15 days to respond or FRS outstanding balance. $7,800. Clipped to it was a second letter that made me sit down hard. County Assessor, Ownership DSB claim filed by Martha Reynolds. HOA President claimant asserts no legitimate heir exists. Property classified as abandoned. Payment processing suspended pending ownership resolution. Let me say that again. Someone had convinced the county that I didn't exist. And because of her claim, even if I had the money right now, they wouldn't accept payment until we resolved who owned the property. It was a perfect trap. Prove ownership in 15 days. Pay $7,800 or lose everything. But you can't pay until you prove ownership. And proving ownership takes longer than 15 days. Checkmate. I called Mr. Harper. He answered immediately. Daniel, you made it. Who is Martha Reynolds? And how did she do this? The pause was too long. I can't explain over the phone. Meet me tomorrow morning first thing. But Daniel, listen carefully. Don't show anyone what Rose left for you. Don't trust anyone in this neighborhood. Rose didn't. What did Rose leave me? She was smarter than all of us. You'll see. Just be careful. He hung up before I could ask anything else. I sat in Rose's kitchen as darkness fell, trying to understand what I'd walked into. Somewhere in this neighborhood, a woman wanted my family home badly enough to commit fraud. And somewhere in this house, Grandma Rose had left me something that would help me fight back. But what? The next morning, I stepped onto the front porch at 7 a.m. The air was crisp and cool. Birds were singing. It should have felt peaceful. Then a voice exploded across the quiet morning like a grenade. I knew you'd show up. A woman stormed across the lawn from the house next door. Late 40s. Perfectly styled blonde hair. Designer yoga outfit that probably cost more than my rent. Her face was twisted with rage. Coming to steal what Rose promised me. This was Martha Reynolds. She wasn't just angry. She was performing. I could see curtains twitching in windows up and down the street. Neighbors coming to watch. Phone cameras appearing. This wasn't spontaneous. This was theater. For 10 years you abandoned her. Martha's voice was sharp and practiced. Rose was like family to me. She told me this land would be mine. She promised it for taking care of her. She shoved papers in my face. Caretaker agreement. Signed by Rose herself. Giving me rights to this property in exchange for maintenance. Your 10-year absence means abandonment under Colorado law. You stole what should be mine. I took the papers with shaking hands. It looked official. Dated 2 years ago. Rose's signature at the bottom. Except something was wrong with that signature. Rose's hands had trembled badly the last 2 years. Arthritis. Her signature had gotten shaky with those little stair-step wobbles you can't fake. But this signature was smooth. Steady. Too perfect. This looked like Rose's signature from 10 years ago, not 2 years ago. I don't know who you are, I said, keeping my voice level. But I'm Rose's grandson. I'm her only heir. I have her will and every right to be here. Martha's expression shifted for just a second. From outrage to something cold and calculating. Colorado law is very clear about property abandonment. 10 years of absence while someone else maintains the land? That's adverse possession, sweetheart. By the time the courts sort this out, that tax deadline will have passed. She turned and marched back to her house, but not before glancing at the phones filming from neighboring windows. She'd gotten her performance. Established her narrative. Made me look like the villain. I looked across the street and saw an elderly woman standing behind her screen door. Gray hair. Glasses. Cardigan. She was watching silently, holding a notebook. Then I noticed the red light on her doorbell camera. Recording everything. Our eyes met. She gave the smallest nod. Then she held up her phone and tapped it deliberately. A message. She wanted me to check my messages. Maybe Rose had left me more than just a house. Maybe she'd left me allies. I barely slept that night. At 3 a.m. I gave up and started going through Rose's things, searching for, what? A clue? A weapon? Something to fight Martha's fraud? Rose's bedroom smelled like her perfume. Floral. Sweet. The bed was made with military precision. Everything neat and organized just like she always kept it. That's when I noticed the photo frame on her dresser sitting at a weird angle. It was one of my favorites, me and Rose on her front porch 10 years ago, the day before I left for Seattle. Both of us smiling. Back when life was simpler. I picked up the frame to straighten it. The backing was loose. My heart started pounding as I carefully removed it. What fell out was a small velvet pouch. Inside was a silver key on a chain. Real silver with tiny roses engraved into the metal. Beautiful. Expensive. Taped to the pouch was a note in Rose's shakier handwriting. For Daniel, when shadows fall east at 4:30 in October, the truth shows clear. First National Bank, Box 347. Don't trust anyone until you see what I've saved for you. When shadows fall east at 4:30. A safety deposit box I'd never heard about. Rose had always been practical and straightforward. This cryptic message felt urgent. Like a warning from beyond the grave. But there was more. Stuck behind the photo frame was a second note, dated 3 months before Rose died. Martha asked about my necklace 3 times last month. Kept touching it, asking where I got it, if it was real silver, what it opened. I told her it was costume jewelry. She didn't believe me. Started watching me through my kitchen window. I stopped wearing it after that. Daniel, she wants something. Be careful. My blood went cold. Rose had been scared. Scared enough to hide this key. Scared enough to leave cryptic instructions. Scared enough to warn me. The chain had a worn spot from being worn daily for years. Rose had kept this key on her body until Martha's interest made her hide it. What was in that safety deposit box? And did Martha know it existed? Mr. Harper's law office felt wrong the moment I walked in. The family photos usually on his desk. Him, his wife, their 2 kids were gone. Just empty space where frames used to be. Mr. Harper himself looked terrible. Bloodshot eyes. Pale skin. Hands trembling as he poured water from a pitcher. Daniel, I need to show you something before we talk about anything else. He slid a manila folder across the desk with the resignation of a man confessing his sins. Inside were photos. Mr. Harper at underground poker games. Cards in hand. Chips stacked. The photos were taken through windows with a telephoto lens. Surveillance photography. More photos. Different games. Different nights. Mr. Harper losing. Drinking. Looking desperate. Bank statements showing withdrawals over 18 months. $3,200? $4,800? $7,500? They kept going. The total at the bottom made me sick. $67,400. Credit cards maxed out. Payday loan documents. A second mortgage on his house. At the bottom, a printed email from m.reynolds47@mailservice.com to davidharperlaw@mailservice.com. David, I know about the gambling. I know about the debts. I know which loan sharks visited your home last month. See attached photos. Here's my offer. Help me with the Patterson estate. Small delays in will processing. Small delays in tax notifications. Give me time to build my case. Do this and your state bar license stays clean. Your wife never sees these photos. Your kids never know. You have 24 hours to decide. She approached me 14 months ago, Mr. Harper said, his voice barely above a whisper. Right after Rose's first heart attack. Martha knew everything about my gambling. Where I played. How much I owed. Which loan sharks threatened my family. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely hold his coffee cup. She didn't want money. She wanted time. Small delays in processing Rose's will. Small delays forwarding property tax notifications to you in Seattle. Just enough time to build an adverse possession case, file complaints, create a paper trail showing her as the caretaker. I thought if I delayed things a few weeks, Rose would recover, you'd come back naturally and Martha would back off. But Rose died. And Martha didn't stop. She kept pushing. More delays. More favors. By the time I realized what she was building, it was too late. 18 months of delays while I sat in Seattle, completely unaware I was being robbed. That's why Rose's will took 7 months to process when it should have taken 6 weeks. That's why nobody notified me about property taxes. That's why the deadline felt so sudden. It was sudden. Because Martha had been engineering it to hit exactly when I'd be most vulnerable. But Martha made mistakes, Mr. Harper continued, pulling up his laptop. She's arrogant. Arrogant people get sloppy. He showed me browser history screenshots. Martha had accidentally synced to an email, Adverse Possession Colorado 10-year rule. How to file building code complaints anonymously. Property fraud strategies. Calendar entries from Martha's synced schedule, Patterson property final phase, dated 3 months ago. Mr. Harper's guilt was driving him to do what he should have been doing all along. Document Martha's mistakes. Build the countercase. I can't undo 18 months of betrayal, he said quietly. But I can help expose the woman who manipulated me into it. While we were talking, my phone started buzzing. Security camera alerts from Rose's house. 3 official vehicles had arrived. Representatives posting notices. Water service suspension, unauthorized occupancy reported. Service suspended pending verification of legal residency. Water shut off within 24 hours. Health Department inspection. Complaint regarding septic system failure. Inspection required within 48 hours. Failure to provide access, $1,000 fine. HOA violation, unregistered occupant. Must prove legal ownership or vacate within 5 days. Martha understood that attention is a finite resource. She couldn't beat me in one big fight. So she was forcing me to fight on 6 fronts simultaneously. Tax deadline. Building violations. Water shutoff. Health inspection. HOA occupancy. Property boundary dispute. Death by 1,000 cuts. Bureaucratic exhaustion as a weapon. My phone buzzed again. Email from someone named Susan Walsh with an MP4 attachment. Daniel, you're probably wondering why I'm not giving you everything at once. I needed to see if I could trust you first. 10 years gone, suddenly back when there's inheritance money involved. Each piece of evidence I send is a test. Rose said you'd make mistakes at first, but you'd learn fast. She was right. Here's the next piece. The video showed night vision footage. Martha on the phone at 2 a.m. Yeah, the old woman finally died. Give me 3 months and the property's mine. The grandson hasn't visited in a decade. He's got no legal standing. Susan's email continued. Rose had me document 47 separate instances over 2 years. Trespassing. Marker moving. Wedding business operations. This is number 31. You'll get them all but not yet. Trust the timing. 47 videos. 2 years of documentation. Rose and Susan had planned this together. The evidence collection. The timed release. Even anticipating my mistakes. My grandmother had been playing chess while everyone else played checkers. Saturday morning, I stood outside First National Bank at 8:45 a.m., waiting for it to open. The silver key was warm in my pocket from being held too tightly. The bank employee who escorted me to the safety deposit box room was polite but incurious. The room was in the basement, cold, fluorescent-lit, concrete walls. Box 347 was in the middle section. The silver key slid in smoothly, turning like it had been made yesterday. Inside was Rose's war chest. A leather-bound notebook with her initials embossed on the cover. I opened it to find daily entries spanning years. June 3, 2021. Martha asked again about using the east lawn for a small family event. I said no. The way she measured my property with her eyes felt wrong. October 2, 2021. Found vendor business cards in my garden this morning. Patterson Gardens, they call it. That's my name. She's using my property name without asking. Rose had been documenting Martha's behavior for 3 years. Tracking every suspicious action. Building evidence like a detective building a case. Survey maps with measurements in Rose's shaky handwriting showed fence movement over time. March 2022, moved 6 inches. July 2022, another 18 inches. November 2022, another 12 inches. Total theft, 42 inches. 3.5 feet of property stolen gradually so nobody would notice. Printed photos of property markers being moved, each time-stamped and dated. 17 photos total. Wedding venue contracts, photocopies Rose had somehow obtained. 34 contracts from 2021 through 2024, showing Martha had been running a commercial wedding business on Rose's property, charging $8,000 per event. At the bottom was a USB drive labeled, Insurance for Daniel. Listen first. Also an envelope marked Evidence Forgery. Inside was a single sheet showing Martha's handwriting, practicing Rose's signature over and over. 30 attempts gradually getting closer. At the bottom, a practice caretaker agreement. Rose had written across the top in red pen, proof of forgery intent. Found in kitchen trash April 18, 2024. Rose had caught Martha practicing forgery, photocopied it before throwing it away, and saved it for this exact moment. I sat in that cold basement holding my grandmother's evidence collection, finally understanding what she'd been doing in her final years. Not fighting. Preparing. Building an ironclad case that would survive her death. I plugged the USB drive into the bank's computer terminal. One audio file appeared, For Daniel, listen first.mp3. I clicked play and my grandmother's voice filled the empty room. Daniel, sweetheart. If you're hearing this, it means Martha made her move. My throat went tight. Her voice was exactly as I remembered. Warm but firm. I'm recording this on September 3, 2024. Dr. Harrison just left after my monthly checkup. My heart isn't great, but my mind is sharp. I made sure he tested my memory specifically because I knew Martha would claim I was confused. Rose explained everything. The property boundary theft. The wedding business fraud. The forgery attempts. I haven't fought Martha directly because she's dangerous in a way people don't see. She's patient. Smart. Plans everything. If I'd confronted her 2 years ago, it would have been my word against hers. She'd have spun it as a confused old woman. So I changed strategies. Instead of fighting, I collected evidence. Every marker she moved, I photographed the next morning. Every wedding she held, I saved the contracts. Every lie, I documented. Then Rose's voice dropped lower, more personal. I'm sorry I couldn't fight this myself. I'm sorry you have to come back to this mess. But I'm giving you every weapon I have. Susan has been helping me save camera footage for 2 years. Trust her. The evidence will come to you when you need it most. A long pause. Just her breathing. I love you, sweetheart. I'm so proud of who you've become. Now go protect our family home the way I protected you. The recording ended. I sat there as tears rolled down my face, holding that USB drive like it was the most precious thing in the world. Rose had spent her final weeks recording evidence instead of resting. Used her last energy to protect me. That afternoon, I got a text from Susan. Wedding at your property today. 180 guests. 5 p.m. Your move. I made a decision. Time to end this publicly. At 5:30 p.m., I walked across the backyard as the wedding ceremony was starting. The lawn had been transformed. 150 white chairs, floral arch, string quartet, professional everything. The bride was beautiful in her white dress. The groom waited nervously. Guests were seated and smiling. I walked straight up the center aisle. Heads turned. Murmurs spread. I reached the front and addressed both the couple and the crowd, my voice calm and clear. I'm very sorry to interrupt. My name is Daniel Patterson. This is my property, my grandmother Rose's house, which I inherited 6 months ago. Martha Reynolds does not own this land. She has no legal right to operate a business here. You've been scammed. This wedding cannot happen on my property. The chaos was immediate and total. The bride started crying. The groom shouted. Martha screamed from where she'd been directing the photographer. But here's what made this different. Everyone had phones out. Every guest was filming, live streaming, posting in real time. The disaster was going viral as it happened. Martha could manipulate neighborhood pages, but she couldn't stop 180 guests from broadcasting this catastrophe to thousands of followers. Police arrived. Vendors started admitting they'd done 6 events here, that Martha had claimed to own the property. Every confession was recorded by multiple phones. Martha's face was permanently associated with wedding venue fraud across the internet. Her perfect plan destroyed by smartphones. The emergency HOA meeting happened 3 days later. The community center was packed, 52 residents, largest turnout in years. Martha had set up a professional presentation. Projector, PowerPoint, printed handouts. She was dressed like a boardroom executive. She presented her case. 3 years of maintenance, $50,000 invested, testimonials from neighbors, the forged caretaker agreement. She looked legitimate, professional, like the victim being attacked by a greedy heir. Then I stood up. I'd like you to hear something first. I played Rose's audio diary for the entire room. Rose's voice filled the community center, calmly explaining Martha's deception. The forged signatures. The wedding fraud. The property theft. By the end, several people were openly crying. Susan stood and connected her phone to the projector. 47 videos played. Night vision footage of Martha moving property markers. Audio of her planning the theft. Video of her practicing forged signatures. Mr. Harper confessed about being blackmailed. Dr. Harrison presented Rose's medical records proving she was mentally sharp until the end. The evidence was overwhelming. The vote was 44 out of 52 to remove Martha and refer everything to law enforcement. But Martha smiled as she left. Competency hearing Monday morning. I still have one more card. Monday morning. District Court. Courtroom 3. Martha's attorney called her expert witness, Dr. Carl Brennan, psychiatrist. He testified that Rose had progressive dementia, that she was paranoid and confused, that she lacked mental capacity to make a valid will. His testimony was polished, professional, convincing. Then Mr. Harper stood for cross-examination. Dr. Brennan, are you currently licensed to practice in Colorado? Pause. I'm retired from active practice. Your medical license expired in December 2018. Correct. Another pause. Yes. You testified you treated Rose from March through August 2024. Which medical facility? My private practice. Your practice closed in 2019. I have the business license cancellation right here. The doctor started sweating. Dr. Brennan, I've subpoenaed all psychiatric records for Rose Patterson. There are 0 records of you ever treating her. No intake forms. No treatment notes. Nothing. Mr. Harper projected Rose's real medical records. Monthly appointments. Cognitive tests passed every month. No dementia. No decline. Dr. Brennan, Martha Reynolds wrote you a check for $3,000 2 weeks ago. Did you accept payment to provide false testimony? Long silence. Dr. Brennan, answer the question. Finally, no, Your Honor. I never treated Rose Patterson. The judge's voice was ice cold. Bailiff, detain Dr. Brennan for questioning regarding perjury charges. Martha's face went white. Having reviewed all evidence, Judge Winters said, Rose Patterson's will is valid. Daniel Miller is the legitimate owner. All ownership disputes are resolved in his favor. Payment processing unfrozen immediately. I'd won. But there was still the tax deadline and payment processing time. 8 days remained. I had a certified check for $7,800. But certified checks take 3 to 5 business days to clear. The county clerk couldn't guarantee it would clear in time. Mr. Harper made calls. Pulled strings. Got a supervisor override documenting that I'd paid on time, with a buffer if anything went wrong with processing. Then came the waiting. Day 1, pending. Day 2, pending. Day 3, pending. Weekend, no updates. Day 5, pending. Monday morning at 9:11 a.m., I refreshed the county tax portal. Payment status, CLRED outstanding balance, $0 account status, CURNT property ownership. Daniel Miller, thank you for your payment. I sat in Rose's kitchen and cried. 7 months of fighting. 11 days of deadline pressure. 7 days of payment anxiety. All resolved in a single status change. Rose's house was safe. Legally mine. No more deadlines. Just done. The district attorney filed criminal charges. Fraud, perjury, forgery, theft, tax evasion. Martha took a plea deal. 5 years probation, community service, restraining order, $71,000 in restitution. Her house went up for sale but got no offers. Everyone recognized it from the viral videos. She moved to Nevada and legally changed her name. But the internet doesn't forget. The neighborhood organized something beautiful. They built a memorial garden in the park with raised flower beds and benches. A bronze plaque read, "In memory of Rose Patterson, 1940 to 2024. Beloved neighbor, friend and grandmother. Who taught us that patience and documentation defeat deception. Measure when shadows fall east. The truth shows clearly. May her wisdom guide us toward truth." 40 residents showed up to help. The ones who defended Martha initially worked the hardest, planting roses and digging beds. Physical penance through labor. Frank Morrison, the HOA compliance officer, stepped down. "I enforced rules for the wrong person. This community deserves better. Real apologies cost something. Real change requires sacrifice." Sunday afternoon, 30 neighbors helped restore Rose's property boundaries. We removed Martha's false markers. Used Rose's shadow method. The October sun at 4:30 p.m. creating perfect east-west lines. We installed new permanent markers. Steel reinforced. GPS tagged. The fence was rebuilt at the true property line. 11 feet of stolen land restored. I took the silver key and created a shadow box for Rose's kitchen wall. The key mounted on velvet next to her photo. Below it an engraved plaque. Rose Patterson, patient strategist, loving grandmother, teacher of documentation. Measure when shadows fall east. The truth shows clearly. 1940 to 2024. Spring arrived 6 months after Rose's death. Late April afternoon, 4:30 p.m., I stood at the restored fence line exactly where Rose's survey map said it should be. The fence posts cast long shadows eastward across the grass. Sunlight caught the silver key on its chain around my neck. I wear it now the way Rose used to. The shadows fall east. The property line is correct. The house is mine. Rose's legacy lives in that shadow box, in the memorial garden, in 47 videos teaching strangers about patience and documentation. She'd been playing chess while Martha played checkers. And in the end, Rose won. Even from beyond the grave, she won. I walked back inside, my house now, and made coffee at the kitchen table where she taught me poker. The guilt about those 10 years away would never fully disappear. But I understood now that Rose had spent her final years not feeling abandoned, but planning my protection. Her love was expressed through meticulous documentation, through hidden keys and cryptic notes, through audio diaries and surveillance footage. She couldn't stop Martha while alive, but she could arm me with everything I needed to win after she was gone. That evening, I sat on the front porch as the sun set behind the mountains, painting everything gold and purple. The neighborhood felt peaceful for the first time since I'd arrived. Real peace. Earned peace. I pulled out my phone and opened the voice memo Rose had left, just to hear her voice one more time. "I love you, sweetheart. I'm so proud of who you've become. Now go live your life in our house. You've earned it." I closed my eyes and let the tears come. "I love you too, Grandma. And thank you. For everything." The house was finally truly home.